Thank you everyone for taking the time to virtually join us today for our Google Career Certificates and the IT Talent of Tomorrow webinar. I'm Kuilan Teo with the Austin Chamber of Commerce. We miss seeing you in person. It is a difficult time for all of us. The Chamber is doing what we can to help navigate this crisis. We recently launched the Austin, A City of Us campaign because while we are all different, there is an us in Austin. So help us be a better us by wearing a mask to protect yourself and others. I'd first like to thank Google, our presenting sponsor of today's program, and our sustaining sponsors for the Power Up series. Accenture, Amazon, Capital Metro, Goodwill Central Texas, City of Austin Small Business, RSM, Visa, Workforce Solutions Capital Area. I would also like to thank our supporting sustainers, Austin Technology Incubator, KView, Statesman. Today's webinar is streaming live on YouTube and will be available on the Chamber's YouTube channel. We also will have tips from today's session posted on our website next week. The July 2020 unemployment rate for the Austin MSA is 6.7%, or 81,942 unemployed. Austin has seen a decline in its unemployment rate since May of 2020, but before the closure of businesses in the metro area, the unemployment rate in February was just 2.6%, or just 33,000 unemployed. According to the Chamber's monthly job postings report, there were about 56,000 available job postings during the August 2020 monthly reporting period. This is an increase of approximately 3,600 postings compared to the previous month of July. New job or first-time postings comprised of 46%, or 25,000 postings in our region. However, as you can see from this chart, most of the postings or opportunities are for tech-related jobs, and you can go to the Austin Chamber website to learn more. The Google Career Certificates provide a unique opportunity for the upskilling opportunities during this period. I would like to introduce Catherine McAden, Head of Public Policy and External Affairs at Google, to introduce the speakers. Catherine has over 15 years of experience in Texas political arena. Catherine has advocated for freedom, energy, and now information. She has experience fighting for Texas interests in both state and federal legislatures and numerous political campaigns. More recently, she launched a public affairs operation at a publicly traded energy company and is thrilled to now call herself a noogler. Catherine is a member of the Cedars Extension, the 50, and sits on the Austin Advisory Board of the Nature Conservancy. Please welcome Catherine.
Thanks so much, Kuilan. I think an important thing that we didn't talk about here is your background, and huge thank you to Kuilan and the Chamber for everything they're doing. She has upskilled herself during coronavirus, so she's a perfect one to bring this together. And I've heard from more than a few people that Austin might be the first in leading in talent development, thanks to your work. Congratulations, and thank you for having us all here. So we know it's a tough time. We're going to talk a lot today about upskilling. We have some great speakers from all over Central Texas, and a special one calling in from Mountain View, California, to tell you about opportunities that Google has coming ahead. But we know it's tough. COVID-19 has created a glaring spotlight on the economy, and many Americans are out of work, and a lot of communities are disproportionately impacted by the crisis. In Austin, as Kuilan mentioned, 82,000 people were unemployed in July. 6 out of 10 of those have just a GED or some college experience, but earned no credential. Here's where it gets fun. We have a couple of different audiences with us today. We have the talent, which Google calls learners when we get into our IT certification program discussion. Those are the people that are really here to add more skill set, affordably and economically raise the bar, increase their digital competency, and learn skills to enter IT entry level, mid-level, and those types of positions. But then we also have the employers who are struggling right now, trying to maintain business, trying to avoid layoffs, but have the opportunity to really enhance their workforce through some of the programs we're going to talk about today. So Google has long sought to provide pathways to support our communities. We've already had a longstanding investment in Central Texas, specifically with Goodwill through the Digital Career Accelerator, and we'll talk a little bit about that and hear from Goodwill a little bit. in a little bit. But really, today's about making lemonade. I'm broadcasting from my son's former bedroom turned office. It's great. The kids are at grandma's house, so it's going to be a good day. Today, we're going to learn how we can support ourselves, support our businesses, and grow from that opportunity. On the top of that list, we have Christian Michael. I mentioned somebody coming in from Mountain View, spending the time. Benefits of remote work here. Christian came in. He's our program manager at Grow with Google. He has worked all over the country to create economic opportunities for all. Since 2017, more than 5 million Americans have grown their businesses and careers with help from Grow with Google's free tools, training, and workshops. Within Texas, 9,000 people have already taken our IT certification program, and he's going to talk more about that. Christian developed strategies to scale social responsibility and corporate citizenship programs within the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, not messing around, Capital One Foundation, okay, we're getting more serious, SD Bechtel Foundation, oh my gosh, who is this miracle worker person? I'll hand it over to Christian Michael. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Catherine. And good afternoon, Austin. Yes, I'm calling in from the other Silicon Valley outside of Austin. Again, my name is Christian Michael. I'm on the Grow with Google certificate team. Next slide, please. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the origin of our IT professional certificates. And I want to give you an overview so you can better understand the technical skills that our learners acquire as they move through our certificate programs. And then I'm going to talk to you about how you as an employer can connect to local, diverse, non-traditional talent that sits right there in your area. Next slide, please. And one more slide. So from 2014 to 2016, my boss, Natalie, created Google's global internal IT support program and led that program's hiring efforts. At the time, we really struggled as a company to find qualified candidates for entry-level IT roles. And we knew that qualified did not have to mean having a 4-year college degree. In fact, the majority of job openings in the US don't require a college degree, as many of you know, and these critical middle skill jobs cut across all sectors. So we partnered with a nonprofit organization for low-income young adults called Year Up, and we built a pathway into IT support roles at Google. And the stats were against us. The typical graduation rate for low-income students at 2-year colleges is around 13%. But 2 years into our program, 87% of year uppers on average were accepted into their internships and on track to get their degrees. So we had a proof of concept that IT is a teachable field. And if we could prioritize skill-based trainings over traditional degree requirements, we could create real paths to jobs. Next slide, please. So we wanted to make these opportunities available to everyone. There are over 215,000 jobs in IT support in the US. That number is projected to grow by 10% by 2026, faster than the average of all other occupations. In Texas alone, there are approximately 21,916 of these positions, according to the most recent Burning Glass data. And as you all know, these are not just jobs. These are good jobs. The average wage nationally for a computer user support specialist was about $51,000 a year. So now more than ever, learners need to get access to hands-on remote training, and employers, of course, need to diversify and deepen their pipeline of IT candidates. Next slide. And yeah, that's it. So we took what we learned from building our own pathway program. And in January of 2018, we launched the Google IT Support Professional Certificate to take beginner learners to job readiness in 3 to 6 months. The content was developed exclusively by Google, and it's available on Coursera. And the Google IT Cert has quickly become one of the most popular certificates on the Coursera platform globally, out of their 3,800 courses offered by universities and other training organizations. And here you can see some of the course instructors, all of whom are former IT support specialists. Next slide. So this beginner certificate, the Google IT Support Professional Certificate, is comprised of 5 courses that introduce the learner through a mix of video lectures, quizzes, hands-on labs, and widgets to troubleshooting, customer service, networking, operating systems, systems administration, and security. And you can see here some of the stats from our course with over 64 hours of videos, 26 interactive labs, and 31 coding assignments. One of my favorite labs has learners practice and then gives them a grade on how they install, update, and remove software on a Linux server. So through our Quick Labs technology, learners get to access virtual servers and networks from their own computer, giving them access to hardware and software they wouldn't otherwise have access to. Next slide, please. So our certificates make no revenue for Google. They're part of our Grow with Google program, which was created to help people grow their careers. And it's important to understand that it does not teach Google products, Google specific products and services, and really is meant to prepare learners for a job at any company. And next, diversity inclusion is really at the heart of our program. So to give you an example of this, we reviewed extensive data from the Level Playing Field Institute, which tells us, for example, that if I'm a woman in tech and I see another woman in tech on the screen as an instructor, I'm 4 times more likely to engage with that content. And when we discuss user scenarios with senior leaders, we don't use he as a default pronoun, we use she or they. And so in addition to this focus on diversity and inclusion, we also have video content that highlights the personal stories of 50 Googlers, from execs to IT support staff, all from diverse backgrounds, really to motivate learners as they're moving through the certificate program. Lastly, many of you employers recognize CompTIA A+ certification as a valued credential for high-growth IT support roles. Now, learners who complete the Google IT Support Professional Certificate and pass the CompTIA A+ certification exam will have access to a new dual badge with a partnership with CompTIA. And that badge can be posted on their LinkedIn profile or on their resume to catch the attention of you, employers. Next slide, please. So a few notes very quickly about our approach. First, we started by releasing over 10,000 scholarships to veterans, refugees, low-income learners at leading nonprofits, and funded nonprofits to deliver wraparound supports, job readiness supports like interview skills, resume writing, and some of those in your area. So Goodwill of Central Texas being one of those, and of course more to come on that when they speak later in this program. We also funded Jobs for the Future, or JFF, to work with community colleges nationwide. Now over 100 community colleges are teaching our pathway program with the Google IT Cert, and really working with them to align their offerings to employer needs by integrating the certificate into their curricula and creating a pathway to academic credit for learners who have already completed the certificate. In Texas, for example, the Google IT Cert is offered at El Centro Community College in Dallas, Collin College in McKinney, Texas, and we're launching more programs this year, including in Texas. I'll come back to this last point around pathway to jobs in a moment, but first, next slide. We created a stackable pathway because, as you all know, IT support isn't just a job, it's a career path. In January of this year, we launched a follow-on program called Google Automation with Python Professional Certificate. That's a mouthful. This is a 6-course program that provides beginner-level training in Python, now the most in-demand programming language by employers. And similar to the entry-level cert, you can see some of the stats here. 29 weeks typically in length, 24 hours of video with 8 interactive labs. Next slide. And next slide. So we have completers from all over the world, and a good number there in Austin. In fact, over 9,000 people in the state of Texas have enrolled in the program. And here is the profile of our learners. We have over 300,000 enrollments globally. In the US, 61% of our learners do not have a 4-year college degree. 45% are in the lowest income tertile. 58% identify as Black, Latino, female, or veteran. And our learners have a completion rate of 2.5 times that of comparable content on Coursera. And this is a stat that we're really proud of. 80% of learners said that the program helped them advance their job search or career within 6 months, which includes, of course, finding a new job, getting a raise, starting a new business, as well as enhancing their skills for their current role, or, of course, improving their ability to get a new job. Next slide. And next slide. All right. So let's talk about you, employers, HR directors, CEOs, recruiters, sourcers, all of you. A key piece of our efforts are ensuring employers beyond Google know about the certificates and are able to easily tap local, diverse, non-traditional talent. We want not only for learners to get the right skills, we want them to get jobs. We have nearly 100 employers that are part of our free hiring consortium nationally. And today we're excited to be launching this hiring consortium in Austin. And Austin's own, both headquartered and founded in Austin, WP Engine is our first Austin-based employer to join, and more to come from Nick in that in just a moment. Next slide, please. So what does this mean? So at no cost, participating hiring consortium members receive a robust candidate pool through access to highly qualified talent, many of whom, just like I detailed before, are from non-traditional backgrounds. You'll also get invitations to participate in interview days and to send email campaigns about open roles that you may have to our program completers, any of the certificate programs. And then also recruiting tools. You'll have exclusive access to post open entry-level roles on our job platform that are visible only to those who complete the Google certificates. And what is a key feature here is the ability to review learner profiles as those completers complete their certificates. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. And then, of course, recognition as a Google participating employer. We'll give you a digital badge. If you want to, you can put it on your website to be recognized as such. Next slide, please. All right, so that sounds great, Christian. How do I get involved? Next slide, please. First, complete this interest form. And I have the URL. We'll send the URL in the chat. It's just grow.google/employers. Next, oh, this is what it looks like. This is what that interest form looks like. After you complete it, our team will follow up with you and set up an onboarding call to understand your hiring needs and to give you access to all of the employer resources that we have available to you. Next slide, please. So this is what the job platform looks like to our completers. They will see all of the open positions in their area, but you can see here that if you are a free hiring consortium member, an employer, your jobs, your open requisitions will be listed as featured. And this signals to the completers that your company is actively looking for Google IT completers. Next slide, please. This is what you will see as participating employers. Profiles that you can search by location, a resume, narrative similar to that of a cover letter, and all of the certificates that they've completed on the Coursera platform. If you go to next slide, I just gave you an example here. This is what my profile would look like. You see the location, certificate completion, background, and experience, and of course, using me as an example. That contact button is a way for you as an employer to connect directly with that completer by way of this job platform. Next slide, please. You may have heard by way of numerous articles, but we are launching 3 new certificate programs because these certificate programs have not only become widely popular on the learner front, but also on the employer front in terms of employers connecting to this talent. So we're excited to prepare people for entry-level jobs in the high-growth fields of user experience or UX design, project management, and data analytics, and do not require a 4-year college degree. So those will be launching towards the end of this year. And as you join the hiring consortium and as those completers complete those certificates as well, you'll have access to that talent as it's being produced. Next slide, please. So feel free to type your questions in the chat box. Angela, who's on our team as well, will be helping answer those if you have additional questions. Thank you so much for your time. Next slide, please. and learning about how we're connecting our certificates to your local workforce ecosystem. I'll leave you with that URL, and of course, we'll put that in the chat box as well. Complete it. We'd love to discuss with you how we can connect with the talent that exists right there in Austin, and is ready for job placement. And of course, as we have more trained through your wonderful nonprofit organizations and via the Coursera platform. So thank you very much. And back to you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Christian. We're pumped. We'll take it all, bring it all down to Texas. We'll take everything in the Lone Star State. I'm also looking forward to a future Coursera course on moderating a live YouTube channel. We all know I could use the feedback. That counts as upskilling, right? Sure. As you mentioned a few times, reminder to everyone who's watching, please put comments into the comment chat. After all of our speakers, we will go to the comments for questions. Not right now, but as presenters are speaking, feel free to put questions in that comment section, and I'll read those aloud afterwards. Appropriate questions, please. We have 3 incredible speakers coming from the Central Texas community today, alluded to earlier. We have Jennifer Tucker coming from Goodwill, Central Texas, Amber Warren coming from Workforce Solutions Capital Area, and Nick Eisnogel coming from WP Engine. We're going to tell you all aspects of how this can be implemented locally, opportunities that you can dive into. So I'll kick it off with Jennifer Tucker. Jennifer Tucker is the VP of Workforce Advancement at Goodwill Central Texas. Prior to Goodwill Central Texas, she spent 13 years as a member of the Goodwill family in both Michigan and Georgia before moving to Austin. Here's the sign of an incredible person. Part of her bio says, Tucker believes that her work can be a vehicle for living your life's purpose and thrives on seeing people realize their full potential. If that doesn't embody the spirit of Goodwill and what we're going to hear from Jennifer Tucker, there's nothing better than that. Jennifer, as Vice President of Workforce Advancement, Tucker is responsible for developing and implementing workforce programming to empower people and to find, keep, and advance their careers. I'll turn it over to Jennifer Tucker. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I am just thrilled to be here today. I love all of the information that Christian shared, and I am just super pumped to tell you all about what Goodwill does and how you can get involved and take advantage of all of the resources and skills that Goodwill has to offer. So like Catherine said, I'm the Vice President of Workforce Advancement at Goodwill Central Texas. And before I started working at Goodwill, I thought, Goodwill helps with workforce. How is that even possible? So go on to the next slide, please. So when you think of Goodwill, what comes to mind? Our stores. Every time I tell people I work for Goodwill, they say, oh, what store do you work at? But most people don't know that when you donate or shop at any Goodwill store, those proceeds then go to help support our mission. And if you go to the next slide, please. So our mission is transforming generations by empowering people through education, career training, and work. So Goodwill Central Texas, we serve over 10,000 people per year. We have one of the only, or the only, adult charter high school in the state. We also have our Goodwill Career and Technical Academy, which offers career training and vocational education for folks that may not have a college 4-year degree, but really want to work towards a middle skills job. We also offer placement services, job training, soft skills training, interview training, resume training, all of the training that you can imagine that somebody might need to be successful on that job. So next slide, please. So as many of you may have experienced in your life, work and education are the only pathways out of poverty. There's something when a person may get a job for the very first time after not having been to work for a long time. And when they get to see themselves really contribute and land that job and go to work and provide for their family, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. The gratitude that we see from people that have been out of the workforce for a little bit, or maybe obtained a certificate or their high school diploma, and they get a shot at the job of their dreams in something that they never before realized. is huge. So by being a partner with Google, I just want to thank them immensely for having the foresight to be able to invest in Austin's workforce through digital literacy training. We've been a partner with Google for some time now. They have supported the Digital Career Accelerator, which you probably don't know that they have then been able to help support digital training for tens of thousands of people in Goodwill, Central Texas. So thank you so much for that. So let's go to the next slide. And with Google's IT Support Professional Certificate Program,
Hey guys, I think we ran into a little bit of a technical difficulty. We will bring Jennifer back as soon as she's able. Things happen, you know, we're making lemonade. We're going to bring her back, but in the meantime, let's transition over to Amber Warren. Let's talk about upskilling. Incredible opportunity. Many of you know or are familiar with Workforce Solutions of the Capital Area, and it's amazing to see they always are working very, very hard on behalf of Central Texans, but apparently during COVID, they have been going gangbusters. Amber's provided resources to over 150 companies impacted by COVID-19, including layoff aversion assistance, incumbent worker training, and outplacement assistance. She's worked in workforce development for 9 years and today is the Director of Upskilling and Advancement for Workforce Solutions Capital Area. Amber, thanks so much for being with us today. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. And thanks for everybody joining us today. Hopefully Jen can get connected. I know Goodwill has such amazing opportunities. We partner very closely with them in our workforce development efforts. Today, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about growing your talent, upskilling in tech. We're really seeing a large area of opportunity here, as Christian had mentioned, those chances to upskill and earn more education and training through those certifications and trainings that Google's providing. If you want to go to the next slide, please. So who is Workforce Solutions? I want to give you guys a little bit of background. We work closely with the Texas Workforce Commission, and there's actually 28 Workforce Solution offices throughout all of Texas. Workforce Solutions Capital Area, we're located here in Travis County, that little heart you see on Texas. And we're here to connect local people to local jobs. If you go to the next slide, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what upskilling is. So we like to look at it as an employer-led opportunity to assist incumbent workers in acquiring skills to advance into middle and high-skilled jobs, particularly those in high demand for the company. But you can also upskill yourself, look into retraining and earning and learning, looking at job shadowing opportunities, internships, part-time employment, apprenticeship, gaining experience on the industry that you're studying for to really help develop your resume and boost the opportunity to advance in your career. We like to think of this as a talent pipeline of hiring new employees to fill open positions, training that talent to skill up to your middle and higher level positions, and creating that pipeline by backfilling those open entry level positions. I'm going to go into a little bit of data in the next slide that really demonstrates why this is important, especially in Texas and in Austin specifically. So in this graph here, you'll see red is representing the workers, the employees or job seekers of Texas, and the gray is indicating the jobs that are available, the job postings that employers are looking to hire for. And you'll see that that middle skilled level really holds that large gap where we have a decline in workers and more jobs than people to fill them. And the low skill area, you'll see that we have a surplus of the workers who are looking for work, but they don't necessarily have the education and training for the positions available. And in the next slide, this gets a little bit deeper into what we're seeing with the impacts of COVID, and specifically in Central Texas, in Austin, in Travis County, where those job postings are and where those employees and job seekers or learners are coming from. Specifically in tech and IT, we're seeing that there's 14 times more job postings than there are people available for those positions. So it's really important to think about how can I train and gain education for these positions. And as employers, thinking about how can I provide an opportunity to open entry-level positions that the job seekers are mostly qualified for by upskilling my incumbent workers, by upskilling the talent that I currently have, recognizing that they have the soft skills or professional skills that are trained within your company culture. And in the next slide, you'll see March through July. These are the job claimants for unemployment benefits. COVID really impacted the food service, retail, and accommodation industry. We've seen 48,000 job claims come in from that industry alone. And IT, you'll see that there's about 28,000 claimants there, but the job postings are still in high demand. That's an area and an industry that really needs more workforce, more developed talent. So upskilling, providing that opportunity to train individuals to advance in that area of study provides a huge benefit of moving those 48,000 jobless individuals into career pathway opportunities in industries that we need. In the next slide, I'll look a little bit further about why upskilling is important. So in 2 months, more people filed for unemployment than in the Great Recession. And this sounds detrimental, but as Catherine was mentioning, we're looking to make lemonade. This is a moment that provides the opportunity to really reshape the workforce, to think about what we can do differently to help people advance in their careers, to earn a living wage, and to be making the type of career choices that they want. 70% of companies are leading towards training over hiring. 54% of all employees are requiring reskilling and upskilling. And when we're thinking about it as a business, the cost of turnover can cost $15,000 per employee. So that's really a huge cost when we're looking at filling positions and hiring for new people. We found that there's a huge return on investment that looks different for every company, but Discover Financial Services saw a 144% return on investment for their upskilling efforts. And we're also seeing that millennials are looking for job opportunities that are investing in them and their career opportunity. The millennials are going to make up 75% of the global workforce, so they really are coming in and taking over a lot of the positions that are retired. So that's something to take into consideration for you as an employer, but also as an individual, thinking about which companies are going to provide me an opportunity to advance. And in the next slide, you'll see all of this really boiled down into 3 points. So upskilling addresses those critical hiring needs and skill gaps. It reduces the cost and it increases profit, and it improves company culture and morale. If you go to the next slide, I want to talk about some of the methods of upskilling. So we've seen a few methods, and this is just a few that we can name, but apprenticeship programs are a great opportunity. And a lot of people think apprenticeship is only in the skilled trades, but it's also being expanded and opened up into healthcare and tech. There's huge opportunities to earn while you learn through apprenticeship programs. Also, in-house training. We've seen a lot of companies adopt training practices within their own businesses of training their employees to be ready for their positions and the jobs that are required. We also have external training providers where you can partner with, like Austin Community College or Goodwill or SkillPoint Alliance. There's so many different options for external training here in Austin locally, and Workforce Solutions can help you identify what those opportunities look like. on-the-job training is a huge opportunity to provide career experience and growth, really getting the hands-on learning through on-the-job training. And also as simple as career coaching. So talking through an employee what their career plans are looking like, what type of opportunities the company has, including if there's tuition assistance, and really opening up the awareness of the potential of growth within their own company. Go to the next slide, please. So how can Workforce Solutions capital area help? So we have some programs available, including the Incumbent Worker Training Funds that provides assistance to employers, and it costs reimbursement to offset the training expenses that they're requiring for training their incumbent workers. So depending on the company size, we can cover between 10% and 50% of the cost. Or 50% to 90% of the cost, excuse me. And the employer contribution can actually be provided in kind. So this is a huge benefit because if you are paying your employees while they're attending the training, this can lead to greater success and will help pick up some of that employer contribution cost from there. So this is an area that we can assist. We can also assist with technical support of planning the type of training available. We work very closely with the training providers in Austin. In the next slide, you'll see a couple other opportunities, including on-the-job training and subsidized employment. When we're thinking about the Google opportunity and signing up as an employer to participate in employing some of those individuals coming through that training, this can help with some of the on-the-job training expenses of reimbursing 50% of the wages or covering up to 12 weeks percent of the cost. So you really get the opportunity to learn what that individual has gained and provide your own company culture in that training opportunity. So if you go to the next slide, I want to mention an initiative that we have, a 500 by 5 to Upskill ATX. This is something that's really valuable for the Austin region. We're looking to invest more in our incumbent workers, provide new opportunities to those learners and job seekers, especially those that have been impacted by COVID-19. So if you're interested in signing up for this, please let me know, and we'll be sending out my information as in the last slide here to come. So if you want to go to the next slide, how can you get involved? So as Google's putting together these opportunities and Workforce Solutions is working alongside with them and Goodwill, we're looking to create a sector partnership. We have a capital area tech workforce coalition. If you're an employer and you see needs in your industry, especially for IT or tech, we want to know about them. We want to define what those common pain points are so that we can work with the training providers, with the job seekers to meet the talent needs that are important for our region. As Christian mentioned earlier, looking for the diverse talent that's available, helping more people gain opportunities to lead into STEM careers. And if you go into the next slide, that's what I have for you today. There's my email address that you can email me for any information or if you have questions. I know we'll be doing questions later as well.
Thank you so much, Amber. That is incredible. And to our YouTuberverse friends, Erica, Jessica, Daniel, and Jacinto, we're clapping to you folks. Congratulations. You're learning great information, great resources. And as a perfect example of how these IT certifications work, somebody has been working behind the scenes and brought Jennifer Tucker back from Goodwill, Central Texas. You too can do these amazing things. Welcome back, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, you guys. I felt like I was in the gauntlet of working from home. Lost internet, connected to hotspot. I made it. We're making lemonade today, Catherine. So thank you so much for having me back. So let's go ahead and go on to the previous slide, please. Yes, okay. So we were talking about what this Google IT Support Professional Certificate is and how you can get involved. So what to expect after enrolling. You are going to be prepared for a career in entry-level IT. And what is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful about our partnership with Google is they have given us a number of scholarships if you qualify. So generally, we're looking for anybody ages 18 and over in the Austin metro area. And we're looking for folks that do not have a four-year college degree right now and who are really interested in figuring out what a career in IT could look like for you. There's something really cool about this actual program, and that is you get to do this self-paced. So you're doing this all on your own at home. Maybe you're trying to figure out how to do virtual school with some kiddos. Maybe you are balancing multiple jobs. Maybe you're just like, I need to do something different. I need to figure out what this is like. You can go at your own pace. So it's 130 hours total. So not only do you get the work of being self-paced on Coursera, but you also have access to Goodwill for virtual, or not virtual, in-person, hands-on lab practice. And you have access to all of our job placement and career advancement services. So that means we would help you with your resume, with your interviewing skills, and connecting to local employers. So if you're a local employer who's watching this and has some wonderful employee that you really want to bring to the next level, this might be the most wonderful opportunity for them to take advantage of. So let's go to the next slide. So if you are a job seeker or a learner right now who is sitting here listening like, I don't picture myself as in a career in IT, that's not for me. I challenge you to think about why not. I think Christian said earlier, it's hard sometimes for people to picture themselves in a role where maybe they have never seen themselves, or maybe don't know anybody who has been in that role before. But we are happy at Goodwill to talk to you more about what that looks like. It's somebody who might love tinkering with things, who might like to figure out how things work. If you like helping other people, so this could be a great opportunity for you. You know, it does, take some effort. It's the 160 total hours. But what else would you be doing with that time, right? Are you watching Netflix, right? Are you sitting there scrolling through social media? So I always try to think about, like, what are you giving value to your time and how do you want to invest in yourself? Also, if you're listening as an employer, I want you to think about how this or Goodwill could potentially help you filling those opportunities that you might have or help to upskill your team. So remember, Goodwill has a staffing service. We work with thousands and thousands of job seekers each and every year that are looking to move from maybe a job to a career. So we could do everything from helping run a cohort of training specifically for your employees. We could help place folks into your company. And we could maybe help even clean your building, as we have a contract cleaning service. So there's a lot of different options for you to get involved and to be a partner. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what is the next step? So if you are interested in being a part of the Google IT Professional Certificate Program, please contact our intake department at intake@goodwillcentraltexas.org. They are the best ones to make sure that you're eligible and that you're interested and that this is something that you would be a good fit for. If you're not sure, just call anyway or email and we can talk you through that. And if this one isn't the right one for you, we do have others that you may be interested in that you just aren't aware of. Also, if you're interested in a partnership opportunity as a business, education, job training, placement, staffing, cleaning services, please give me a shout, jennifer.tucker@goodwillcentraltexas.org. I'm happy to talk through those opportunities with you. And I just want to thank you so much and for your grace and flexibility with the technical difficulties, but it's been great to speak with you today. And I am going to turn it back over to Catherine.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. Congratulations and thank you for everything you're doing. We have a lot of great things happening locally in Austin. So next we're going to pivot over. We've talked a lot about upskilling, my new favorite word. Didn't know it before 2 days ago, to be totally honest, but now it's my favorite one. Upskill, 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 upskill. I'm upskilling myself. We're working on it. But now we get to pivot to something more exciting, jobs. So I'm bringing on Nick Eisnogel from WP Engine. He's been a technical support manager for 4.5 years. Prior to that, he was at Rackspace for almost 8 years. Cool companies. At WP Engine, Nick runs one of the award-winning technical support teams where they support over 120,000 customers in more than 150 countries. Is that real? More than 150 countries, people. We're not messing around. So, talking about how we're going to make lemonade, I got my lemon. Nick is going to talk to us about jobs and how it looks like in the real world. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Catherine. So yes, my name is Nick Eisnogel. I represent WP Engine. It's an Austin-based company where we hopefully will be hiring some people with these Google support, IT support professional certificates. It's one of the reasons that we were so excited to join the consortium when Christian offered us a chance. And so let's jump in. So next slide, please. So at a high level, today I will just introduce who WP Engine is and what we do, take you through our core values and our culture, talk about the diversity and benefits that WP Engine employees enjoy, discuss the role that I'm here to talk about, which is the technical support L1, and the career path after that at WP Engine. Next slide, please. So what does WP Engine do? WP Engine is the WordPress digital experience platform that drives your businesses forward faster. That's kind of a lot to take in, so let's break it down. So first off, what is WordPress? WordPress is actually the WP Engine. It is a content management system that powers over 1/3 of all websites on the internet, which speaks to the scale and the power that piece of software has. I mentioned a content management system real quickly. So think of it as like a template for websites. We don't all have the coding skills to build websites from the ground up. So what a content management system like WordPress does is it gives you a template and a layout. So really, if you just want a simple website, all you have to do is kind of add your images and your content, and you can stand one up pretty quickly. So it's a super, super powerful tool. Next is the digital experience platform. So when WP Engine started about 10 years ago, we were a smaller company, obviously. It was fair to call us a WordPress host or a WordPress managed host at the time. But as you can see with the image in the bottom left hand of your screen, we've added tons of capabilities and tools since then to where the companies you can see in the top right of your screen, they can bring their businesses online with us. Because nowadays it's not just simple websites and cat blogs anymore. It's web apps, mobile apps. We're ordering food online. We're shopping online. We're watching movies, listening to music. I mean, there's so many digital experiences online, and you can do them all at WP Engine. Next slide, please. So now that I've explained what WP Engine is, we'll see what makes us run, right? So I originally had these core values on my next slide with the rest of WP Engine culture, but I feel that they're so important to us that I had to put them on their own slide. And so, and if you're a learner out there and a job seeker, we will ask you about these in job interviews. So listen up here. So I'll run through them pretty quickly. The first one is doing the right thing. When you make a decision that it's right for the customer and it's right for our company, that's doing the right thing for us, right? It's pretty simple and straightforward, but it's core to what we do. The next one is customer inspired. Now, I think we've all kind of seen some companies having, customer centric or customer focused as part of their core values, but we picked the word inspired very deliberately. We are incredibly grateful for playing the role we do in our customers' lives. Because most business nowadays is online, right? And so we have companies that they hire tens, hundreds, thousands of people And this is how they put food on their table and roofs over their heads, and they trust us with that responsibility. So it inspires us to do our best work and do what we do best. Speaking of the best, we are also we're the best to get better. So this kind of has a double meaning to it. So first off, really in any measure you want to use, whether it's revenue, customer count, size, we are the biggest and the best WordPress digital experience platform in the world. And we feel we've earned the right to say that. But that's not enough for us. We always want to continue to get better. A recent example of this is last year. So the majority of our customers actually are run on the Google Cloud platform. And last year, they released a brand new server, a compute optimized C2 server, cutting edge technology. And even though it was more expensive than the servers we were on, we migrated our entire infrastructure over and did not pass a cent of that on to our customers because we felt it was so important to have the best of the best. And we saw a way to get better, and we did it. Another meaning of where the best gets better is we hire the best people. We want the best talent, and when you get in the door, it doesn't stop there. We have an entire department, a learning and development department, that is just focused on making you a better tech, a better person, better whatever. We give you books, we give you training. I mean, there's endless resources. We have mentors. I mean, we really do want everyone to keep getting better than they were. Our next core value is built to last, my personal favorite. Think of this as kind of delayed gratification, right? So we believe in long-term investment over short-term gain. We've been here for 10 years, and we want to be here for the next 100. So we're always thinking long-term with that. It also applies to our customers. I've been here for 4.5 years, and I see customers all the time that have been here longer than I have. And it's really inspiring that they trust us so much that they'll stick with us. Even though there's a lot of competitors out there, they trust us so much that they are willing to stay with us. And finally, aspiring to lead and committed to give back. So we don't want to just be a fixture in our communities. We don't want to just be a contributor. We want to lead the charge. We are a leader in our communities when it comes to giving back. I'll go more on how we do that locally on the next slide. But as an example, so WordPress is an open source piece of software, meaning no one owns WordPress. No one directly financially benefits from it. The community owns it. Volunteers work on it and contribute code to it. But we feel so strongly about it that we have people on our staff, developers, that are hired to just work on WordPress. They don't touch WP Engine at all. We just want to give back to that WordPress community, and we're willing to pay for that. And all this goes into our culture. Next slide, please. So our culture. So as I mentioned in the last slide, so in the top left picture you see there, that last year our company gave each of the 7 offices $15,000, and they said, as an office, you vote on which local charity you want to give that money to. And that's a picture of our San Antonio office donating to Make-A-Wish. We have made 2 children's wishes come true in the past year, and that's just one example of many. The middle picture is a biannual celebration we have called All Hands, and what that is we celebrate what we've accomplished. We kind of get a sneak peek on what's coming up ahead, and we have a party. Obviously, that was last year. It's going to look a lot different this year, but again, it's important to our culture that we're all together and we enjoy each other. The picture at the top right is from this year. It's an event called a town hall. It's actually a meeting we have every single week where, again, the entire company gets together. It used to be in person at the offices, but as you can see now, it's all online. And our executives tell us what's coming up next. We get to see kind of product launches. Like this morning, once a month they go over the financials for the previous month, and they show us how we're tracking on an annual basis. The transparency is really big for us. And again, these are all things that contribute to our culture. The bottom right, you can see some of the many awards that we've won. We've won best workplaces from Great Place to Work in just about every location we've been at. We've won it for our technology. The middle, the top middle picture is a Stevie Award. So those are for customer service. We actually won, that's 2019. We actually won gold for 2020, which I believe makes it 4 years in a row for us. So again, when we say award-winning customer support, we literally win awards for it. And finally, on the bottom left, this is a word cloud that Great Places to Work they took. When we fill out our surveys, they take all of our verbatim answers and they put them on a word cloud to see what really makes us great, right, from our words. And as you can see, it's the people. We feel like we work with the best, and yeah, so that's the main thing that we all appreciate. And I'd like to talk more about people on our next slide. Sorry, there you go. So diversity. I think this is another thing that separates us. Is we are proud of how diverse our workforce is, and it's something that we really work for. As you can see, 2/3 of our leadership, our senior leadership, our C-levels are women. 1/3 of our company does not have a college degree. That shouldn't be a barrier to entry. Again, we want the best of the best people. But that's also where the Google IT Support Professional Certificate comes in, because things like that prove that you have the knowledge and you have the drive. And even if you don't have a degree, certificates like that really help you get your foot in the door. 1/3 of our workforce is people of color, and 8% identify as LGBTQ. The pictures at the bottom are actually our representatives from our different employee resource groups. So the bottom left is our Represents ERG. They represent the people of color WP Engine. The middle is our Pride ERG. They represent the LGBTQ population. And the bottom right is our Sheroes organization, and they represent the women of WP Engine. We also just announced that we are hiring a head of diversity who will sit with our senior leaders, because again, it's a strength for us. It's an advantage that we have. Our diversity gives us different perspectives and different ideas and creativity, and it's one of the main reasons we are so successful. And so that's, again, something we're extremely proud of for diversity. So that's great, and speaking of our workforce, what are the benefits of working here? Next slide, please. So generous PTO, we have paid family leave for those that are starting or growing their families, 100% paid medical, vision, dental. We match 401k. As you can see, the free catered meals, we used to have a free lunch every day. Of course, we are a fully remote workforce since the pandemic started, and so it's kind of hard to scale free lunch during that. But I'm sure that's something we'll get back into when we see each other again. And something I'd really like to point out is, so the role I'm here talking about today, that is a full-time employee. For you learners who are interested, that is a full-time employee. You're a W-2 employee. We give you stock options. You're an owner. You are a full-on WP Engine employee with this next role. Next slide, please. So the technical support L1 is the role I'm here to talk about today. That makes up the majority of my team, and that's really where this Google IT Support Professional Certificate will come in. So what do we look for an L1? So the first off is positive energy and enthusiasm. It's a tough role. Tech support is probably tough everywhere. And so we really look for positive people who can kind of get knocked down and not only pick themselves back up, but pick up their coworkers and kind of keep that smile on your face. And enthusiasm, which personally I think really separates our customer support from other teams, is we don't have to help the customer. We don't just get paid. We want to help our customers, and we get excited to do it. Being a technical role, obviously technical aptitude is a big part of that. Troubleshooting and problem solving. And troubleshooting, it really is a skill you have to learn. It's not just something that you're kind of born with. And it is something that we can kind of tell in like the first 10 seconds in some questions whether you know how to troubleshoot or not. So another reason to get that certificate. Communication and organizational skills, obviously talking to customers, your teammates, those are important. Being a great teammate. We don't all have the right answers, right? Not everyone knows everything, so we really rely on each other to get those answers and help our customers. We want people that are curious and driven. And then also as a high-tech growth company, things change literally every day, sometimes multiple times a day. So you really have to embrace that change. So once you're brought into the company, what do we do? Well, again, like I said, we offer world-class, award-winning customer support. That's primarily done via chat. So about 85% of our volume is done via chat. We also talk to customers on the phone and work with them through support tickets, which is basically like sending emails. What kind of problems do we solve? Obviously, WordPress being our bread and butter, so it's a lot of WordPress plugins and themes. SFTP, we see a lot of DNS and SSL. Then it's command line, and then of course we're hosting, so a lot of the 504s, 502s, 404s, other error codes like that. We're learners, right? Again, I mentioned our L&D department earlier. We expect you to come in and learn and want to grow and grow in your career, right? And then we all support our teammates. Again, we don't have the right answers, so we really rely on each other and help each other throughout the day. So how does this Google IT Support Professional Certificate help me? So I put those certain bullet points in bold because those are things that you would get directly from the certificate. And I'm sure I'm missing some too. But this certificate teaches you all these things, so you already come in a step ahead of other candidates. And also, when I want people who want to invest in themselves. And if you have shown me that you've invested time, some certificates cost money. If you really invested in yourself and you believe in yourself that much, I have no choice but to believe in you as well. And that speaks volumes about who you are as a person and who you are as a candidate. And that this certificate certainly gives you that. But it doesn't stop at L1. Next slide, please. So when you join WP Engine as an L1, if you want to move up, we expect you to be an L2, right? We want you to have, put the time in, put the work in, and get that promotion to L2. And once you become an L2, that's when all of these doors open. And I'd like to really point out two things here that are important. First off, the majority of the positions you see on this slide are protected from external hires, meaning we pull these candidates directly from our L2 pool and no one else. You'll never see these online. You'll never see these publicly. We only give these to our L2s because they're the ones that have been with us. They've earned it, and we want to reward them for that. Another thing is these are all real life examples of people who have gone from L1 to L2 and beyond. These aren't like open positions. These aren't arbitrary jobs I made up. I can name all of these people on here. This is the real opportunity that you have. This is the career that you've been wanting, not just a job, the career that you've been wanting. And it all potentially begins with this Google IT Support Professional Certificate. So my next slide is my last. It's just a big thank you for your time. And for learners, I really hope I see you in an interview pretty soon. So thank you.
Nick, Snoggle, WP Engine is doing some awesome things. That was a great presentation. I'm a Googler, so I'm biased, but dang, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for that presentation, and thank you to everyone who has spoken so far. At this point, we're going to roll over to the Q&A section. You YouTubers, post questions in the comments section. Fortunately for you that are giving us, applause but not asking questions, please do that. But just in case, I have some texted to me, so I'm going to read them out for you while you're thinking about your questions. Just put them in the private chat, put them in the comment section, and we'll get you covered. So my first question is going to be for Jennifer Tucker. And my question for you is, hold on, I got to go through this. This is where I need those upskilling moderating questions here. I lost it. Okay. Will the scholarships and financial aid be more for minorities or veterans or through nonprofits? I think what we're trying to say is if you're a minority or a veteran, what are the financial aid options for you? And Jennifer, this one's for you, but others, if you have input, please jump in.
Great. So the Google IT scholarships are really for anybody ages 18 and over, anywhere in the Austin metro area. You have to be at under 200% of the federal poverty level guidelines, and you cannot have a 4-year college degree. So you could have some college, you could have an associate's degree, you just can't have a 4-year degree. So those are the only eligibility requirements.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Just
Okay.
sorry, just wanted to add to that too. If you're also an active military member or previously have served through a grant that we have with the USO, you or your spouse can get a free license too to the Coursera platform to take the certificate. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Awesome. Okay, we got a question from a YouTuber, Jessica. When does the next class start for the IT Google certification with Goodwill?
I like these questions. So it's self-paced. So as soon as you contact our intake department and get signed up, we will give you your assignment information and you can get rolling.
Awesome. What if, okay, this is another one that was already sent in. What if I'm an older person? I'm worried because of my age, and how my age will reflect on my resume with employers looking at my profile. How will the certificate reflect for me there to employers?
So I can go ahead and answer that one. Increasing your education and skills through training such as the Grow with Google can always help you with your career advancement or change. Workforce Solutions has worked with a number of older populations, and the age has never hindered them from connecting to employment. I know Goodwill has also worked with older populations and has been able to connect them to employment through increased training. So this will definitely be able to assist you, and age isn't going to hinder that. I think Nick said it really well in his presentation that if you're taking the time to invest in yourself and your skills, he has no chance, like no other option but to recognize that. So I think that's really important to think about too.
All right, we'll do. Oh, sorry.
I really quickly like to add, just kind of anecdotally, I have people on my team that are older than I am, right? It didn't stop them. They're successful techs, building their careers with WP Engine. So in no way will age hinder anyone.
Okay, got our last question coming in, and this one is for Nick. Do tech jobs require years of experience?
Absolutely not. No. So we've hired people from Domino's. We've hired people from various non-technical backgrounds who have all been successful with our company. What it really takes is grit. It takes effort. It takes a belief in yourself, and it takes some work. So, like I said, investment in yourself. If you can invest, it depends on how hard you work at it, but a couple of weeks, couple of months time, and getting the certificate, again, that's all you need.
Awesome. All right, everybody, for on there, we have 2 things coming up. Just some last final words, so stick with us. Christian from Grow with Google in Mountain View, California, please give us final words. Anything we missed? Thank you for creating all of this.
Yeah, sure. I wish I could take credit for creating all of it, but I'm happy to be here and talk about it. Really at the core, it's going to be hard summing up all of these great presentations. But as you all know, this is a really unique moment in time. And we at Google really believe that we have the opportunity collectively to rebuild an economy that works for everyone. And we continue at Google to offer free access to tools, trainings, resources to help all Americans get the skills that they need to grow their careers and businesses. And so I encourage anyone out there, perhaps you're not interested in IT. We have a whole host of free resources. If you just go to grow.google, you can see all of the resources that we have available for small business owners, for educators. Whatever your circumstance is, we have resources for you. So please check out that URL. And again, if you're an employer, go check out grow.google/employers. we would be happy to have you as part of our hiring consortium. So thanks again for having us, Catherine. Well, thanks thanks for having me specifically, but thank you, Austin, the workforce development ecosystem in Austin. We're just excited to be a part of it.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks so much, Christian, and all of our other speakers. I'm going to tee it back to Quilon from the Chamber to talk a little bit more about opportunities within the Chamber and how you can keep being engaged and part of the conversation beyond now.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you to all the speakers from Google, Goodwill, Workforce Solutions Capital Area, and WP Engine for taking the time to share your experiences with us. As mentioned earlier, today's webinar will be posted on the Chamber's YouTube site. We will also be having tips from today's session posted on our website next week. And there will be a slide, I think, is it on there? Yes, the Austin Chamber has a list of upcoming webinars. So starting early, the first week of October, we've got the Austin A-List Awards for startups here in Austin. And then all the way through December when we have our Greater Austin Business Awards. So please join us when you can. And thank you for joining us today. Please stay safe and we wish you all success.